right, this is Power Breakfast, and you have been enjoying Irish music, traditional Irish music from the Quilla Band. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And today we are going to be talking about the National Day of Ireland. Tomorrow is March 17th, which marks St. Patrick's Day. In studio, in addition to the Quilla Band, I am honoured to welcome the Irish Minister for Public Works, Mr. Boxer Moran. Welcome to Power Breakfast.
Good morning. How are you?
And also, I'm great, thank you. The Irish Ambassador to Kenya, His Excellency Dr. Vincent O'Neill. Welcome.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you both for being here. I like the green tie. You're definitely in the spirit.
We're definitely in the spirit. First of all, I arrived here last Monday night, and I suppose the minute we got into the country, we could see, because we met with a few Irish people with the green, and we knew we were coming into the right place.
To the right place.
To celebrate Ireland, to celebrate Paddy's Day, and to celebrate what we would call a great tradition back home in Ireland. But not taking away the fact that when I arrived, I visited the young scientists of high school here in Kenya, and where we're going to have a partnership between the high schools, Young Scientists of the Year, between partnership with the Irish government, and it's great to see that type of thing taking place. We then went on and we done contracts in relation to the potatoes. We met the governor in Nairobi County. We had a great time, met a lot of the farmers up there, seeing traditionally what they do, and the similarities back home is very evident. And when you talk to the farmers and talk in relation to government, we're all on the right track, making a partnership work for the betterment of people in Kenya and the people of Ireland.
Yeah, it's definitely important to establish those relations between Kenya and Ireland. Perhaps, Ambassador, we can talk a little bit about St. Patrick's Day for those who are not familiar with the National Day of Ireland. Can you talk to us about where it began, when it began, and about St. Patrick himself?
St. Patrick is Ireland's national saint, and St. Patrick's Day is our national day. St. Patrick himself came to Ireland from the UK, actually. He came in the 6th century, and basically he was abducted through pirates into Ireland, and he was the one who's reputed to have brought Christianity to Ireland. And as you know, Ireland is a very strongly Christian country, and Irish people throughout the world are famous throughout the world. We have a population of about 4.5 million people in Ireland. Globally, over 70 million people claim Irish heritage. That's because we're a small island. We've always been outward looking. For many years we've been poor, we were colonized, we've had famine. So a lot of people left the country and went all over the world. In the US now, over 30 million citizens have Irish heritage, in the UK, Australia, Canada. So therefore, St. Patrick's Day is a celebration of our national identity, and it's a celebration of Irish people around the world. And so it's a very big opportunity for us to actually recognise our history, but also celebrate Ireland for what it is today. And consequently, we're very privileged to have the minister here in Kenya. He's the only Irish minister. Many ministers are travelling around the globe at this period of time. He's the only Irish minister who's come to sub-Saharan Africa. He's the first time in Kenya. We've had a minister here to help us celebrate St. Patrick's Day in Kenya. We're delighted that that's the
and the lighting up the line last night was something
right, yeah, talk to us about the greening initiative.
The green initiative started 4 years ago, yeah, and the lighting up of the elephant and lighting up of the rhino. But this year something special, the lighting up the line. And because it's special, it's because it's made of ocean waste, flip-flops, materials like that. And it proves that out there to the wider world that collecting the ocean waste and make them into good use can be something you can use into the future. But last night, as a minister coming from Ireland, to see the lighting up the line here in Kenya and watching the people of Kenya celebrate it, just as I did last night, was something I can bring back in my heart to the people of Ireland, and thank the people of Kenya for, but also thank the Irish Embassy and the government here for working close together, and the National Park, because it's very, very important that we send out the signal in relation to Irish, and we're open for business, just like Kenya's open for business, but also we're a very warm country in terms of
with
our
very
heart.
nice music.
With very nice. With the lads, we did a culture night the other night, and the lads performed extremely well, and a great bunch of lads also. I only got to know them this week, and let me tell you, there was some of them was sleeping there. There was a bit of an early start for them, but they were playing very late last night.
Yeah.
Very, very enjoyable.
Right.
And we had a great Musfas, the poet, and we also had Samba band. They were traditional Kenyan drummers, and they were awesome, and the lads and them performed together. And back home, I know some of the videos we took, send them back home, has gone wild on Twitter.
That's amazing. Yeah, and this the greening initiative was also trending quite a bit yesterday on Twitter. I understand you greened Taji, the lion.
Taji, yeah. And I mean, as the Minister was saying, it's one initiative by the Irish Tourist Board that actually they ask embassies in each country to green an iconic structure in that country. So it could be the Eiffel Tower in Paris or Table Mountain in South Africa. In Kenya, we were scratching our head and say, what's iconic? And of course, wildlife is iconic. So the first year we greened Ahmed, the elephant in the National Museum. Last year it was rhinos, and this year, as the Minister said, it was the lion. And really, with three objectives in mind. First of all, to remind Kenyans of Ireland's presence through the greening colour, but more importantly, to point to conservation and the importance of lions. And this year, for World Wildlife Day, they've highlighted the cats, the big cats, and the need to conserve them, the dwindling numbers, the problems of human wildlife interaction. And the third aspect is, as the Minister said, to highlight the problem of ocean waste. And Kenya is taking a lead in this. I think it's 6 months since Kenya, the government banned plastic bags.
Right.
And just yesterday there was a global report which highlighted that even in the best quality bottled water, we're now seeing microparticles of plastic. And nobody really knows what the impact they have on human consumption over time. So I think the last year people have woken up to that important issue, and I know a lot of waste washes up on Kenyan shores that actually comes from Asia and many other countries. And it's fantastic to see a company, a social enterprise like Ocean Soul that builds this wonderful line, and any of your viewers can watch the line or go and visit it in National Park. It was donated to Nairobi National Park, and that's one of the great things about this initiative. It will become a resource for them, so the children and the general population can go there, not just see Taji, but also learn about conservation of lions and also the hazards that ocean waste presents to conservation.
Very important cause, no doubt. Now, we've heard traditional Irish music and what that sounds like. Perhaps on a lighter note, our viewers would like to know more about some of the foods, the traditions involved in St. Patrick's Day, just some of the...
Well, back home, most of the pubs now will be going with bacon and cabbage. Because bacon and cabbage is traditionally the real Paddy's Day dish, and the white sauce that goes with the bacon. And people will celebrate with their pint of Guinness with the shamrock designed to put at the top of it. And trust me, because Paddy's Day has fallen on Saturday and it's the 17th, Ireland are in for the Grand Slam, and that adds to the occasion. But the people, every town and village in Ireland will have a parade, and that's where cars will be stopped going through towns, where people will come out onto the streets and enjoy the celebration for the different floats representing what Paddy Day is about, but also different things that take place in the town and in our country. And even our politicians get slagged off in relation to some parts of the parades. But traditionally, people dress up. People dress up as St. Patrick, you drove the snakes of Ireland, you've all that sort of crack and rock and roll. And mostly the way we say it at home, we put on the green jersey. And the green jersey is, as one would say, we put it on all over the world because we have a diaspora of 74 million people right around the world, and we reach out to them and they reach out to other people selling Ireland abroad. And as I would say to you, we have 34 ministers travelling. It's not about trade missions, it's about selling Ireland in terms of what we stand for, what we're about, and also that we're open for business, and that's very, very important.
Right. Yeah, and there might be people who have a misconception of what St. Patrick's Day is all about, and that's why it's important to educate. People might just think green beer.
Green beer, or green rivers, or whatever.
No, it's a very religious day as well. Like people respect and know in relation to St. Patrick. It wasn't when he came here 1,600 years ago. It wasn't all fun and joy, but since we've turned the corner, we've made that, and we've made it into a day of celebrations, and that's why we enjoy it. Yes, it's a culture that people enjoy. Some people afterwards bring the family to go for a bit of lunch and to have a few drinks, and that's all to be celebrated. We do it in a proper fashion, but we enjoy it, and as I said, we enjoy it in such fashion. That's why we want to sell it, and that's why people travel from all over the world into Ireland for St. Patrick's Day. You wouldn't get a flight; they'll be booked out, and that's very important as well.
Yeah. Perhaps you can talk to us about how you hope to see it celebrated here in Kenya.
Yeah, and thanks for that, because I think it's also a time when we just pay a little bit of attention to Ireland's relationship with Kenya, and I think we've a series of events this week. The Minister mentioned about a concert. We also, the musicians will be going out to some communities around Nairobi as well to share the music with them. But what we want to do here is to bring into focus a long history of our excellent relationship with the country here. For over 100 years, we've had missionaries, but also people working in business, individuals who've been working here, paying a lot of attention to Kenya. His Excellency the President was educated in St. Mary's, Nairobi, a school founded by Irish missionaries. We have David Rudisha, the great athlete, his trainer, his brother Colin, in Iten in Western Kenya. Wangari Maathai, her inspiration as a teacher came from, or as in science, came from her school, Loreto School, which was founded by Irish sisters. So we have a very strong and positive relationship with Kenya, and that's changing over time. And what does that mean in 2018? Because there are so many similarities between Irish people and Kenyans. We both like to have a good laugh. We like to enjoy sport. We have a very strong focus on culture and music. We love sport like rugby and golf and so on. And I think it's a celebration of what our commonalities are. And as the minister says, it's a celebration of how we can work together for the benefit of both of our countries. And I think that's what's been excellent about this week, is that we've had a wide variety of activities, be in development cooperation and political discussions, and in cultural relations that actually make St. Patrick's Day relevant to the relationship between Ireland and Kenya in 2018.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ambassador has talked about the history of our the relationships between our two countries. What is your outlook for Kenya-Irish relationships going forward?
Well, if you look back, we're 100 years over here in Kenya working with the Kenyan people. But I think based on my visit here this week and what I've reached out and spoke to the governor and spoke to different public representatives, I think we can trade together. And it's what's good for Kenya is good for Ireland, what's good for Ireland is good for Kenya. And I say that with that whatever we do, we support one another. And if you look at the exports, they're rising all the time. And that's very important that we sense out that we're not over here trying to jump into Kenya and take everything, that we're here as partners. And I believe that the meetings we had this week, and particularly the meetings we had with IDA and representatives here from Kenya, that I think we can do a better partnership deal to get it forward. It's something that came home to me in most of the discussion, is that we're looking for a trade mission led from Ireland over into Kenya. That's something I'm going to work on when I go back with my counterparts. And I believe that trade would boost morale over here in Kenya, but also boost trade, which is very, very important. And we do see ourselves, as I say, a grown country, just like yourselves. And I think that we're, as I said at the start, we're very similar in what we do and what we achieve. And I can say that because I was on the field and I was in the cities, so I've seen it all, and I really enjoyed it. And the hospitality received is just like what I retrieved back home, so I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm glad you've had a good time here. As you've said,
Yes.
Ireland is open for business.
And I would come back.
And you will come back. Well, you're always welcome back.
Yes, yes.
As you said, it's all about that partnership, fostering that partnership between our two countries. And I think your presence here and just this whole experience will enable those watching to be able to participate in that. I wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day both tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
And look forward to see how Kenyans around the country will be celebrating that day here in Kenya. So thank you so much, Ambassador. Thank you so much,
very much
Minister, for
indeed.
being here.